Hello, fans, collectors, and investors. Welcome back to Iconic Baseball. I am, as always, Iconic Al. If you're just finding this channel for the first time, I want to say welcome, and please subscribe. If you're an old watcher of the channel, I want to say thank you. Today, we're going to continue on the Top 100 countdown, and we are at position number 86. Today, we'll feature an iconic outfielder, one of a trio of three phenomenal outfielders that once played in center field at one time in one city. I'm talking about the trio of Mickey Mantle, center fielder for the New York Yankees, Willie Mays, center fielder for the New York Giants, and none other than the Duke of Flatbush, Duke Snider, who played center fielder for the Brooklyn Dodgers and part of the 1955 championship Brooklyn Dodgers team that included the likes of Roy Campanella, Gil Hodges, and Jackie Robinson. Without any further ado, a little intro to Duke Snider.
Talking baseball, Klazuski, Campanella, talking baseball. The man and Bobby Fella, the Scooter, the Barber, and the Duke. They knew them all from Boston to Dubuque, especially Willie, Mickey, and the Duke.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jack. I don't care if I never get back. Let me root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Here he is, Duke Snider, one of the great hitters of the 1950s, and as I mentioned in the intro, part of an iconic trio of three great New York center fielders. Why do we care about Duke Snider? Well, he had an amazing run of years from 1953 to 1957, where he was a monster. He was a peak guy. You have compilers, guys that play for a long period of time, and they're good. And at the end of a long career, their numbers are phenomenal. And they've compiled amazing statistics. Think Eddie Murray, a guy we know as Steady Eddie. Over a 20-year period, he was able to amass 500 home runs and 3,000 hits, which is a different kind of remarkable. In Duke Snider, we have more of a peak guy, a guy who was able to be phenomenal for about a 6-year period between 5-year period between 1953 and 1957, where he was at the center of an offense and at the center of a team that won 2 world championships. Most notably, those 55 Dodgers, who were arguably the most iconic team of all time. Let's dig into some numbers here with Duke Snider. 65 WAR. He was a .295 career hitter with a .380 on base percentage. 407 home runs, and if you look more into the modern metrics, a .919 OPS, which is really good. Anything over 800 is pretty elite. And a 140 OPS plus, which is also pretty special. So this guy was an offensive juggernaut, especially during those years between 53 and 57. If you want to hear a good stat line, in 1954, Duke Snider hit 341 with 40 home runs, 130 RBIs, and scored 120 runs for an 8.1 WAR that season. And you would think, oh, well, he must have been the MVP that season. Well, he would have if it weren't for Willie Mays. Willie Mays had 10.5 WAR that season. So, that's part of what you deal with. It's who is the class you're playing with. And, he was playing in the same league as Willie Mays for much of his career. Not to mention his own teammates, like Roy Campanella, who won multiple MVPs. So he had quite a bit of competition for those MVP awards. Anyway, Duke Snider, in his own right, he really established himself in the postseason, hitting 11 home runs in the World Series. He had 26 World Series RBIs, so he always seemed to rise to the occasion. And this is why he lands on this list. Here's the 1950 Bowman Duke Snider, which is a second-year card. And I think the eye appeal of this, the centering is great, the color, the image. I actually like this quite a bit better than his rookie card. And at the price, I feel like it's a pretty good value. This was recently graded by PSA, came back at 2, which I think was a little bit harsh, especially with the qualifier of MK, which I still really don't know why it got an MK, because I don't really see a mark on it. But that's the risk you take with grading these days. Anyway, it's one that I might look to upgrade someday if I see a nicer copy or a higher grade copy. But for now, I'm very happy with this. And it's one of my favorite cards from this era, the early 50s. Really just before Duke Snider became iconic. And then for this one, much like my previous Willie McCovey video, 1998, Donruss signature, significant signatures, a great set with a nice autograph of Duke Snider. Duke Snider autographs are very cheap. I think he signed a lot during his lifetime, and consequently, it's very easy to pick up a Duke Snider autograph for a very reasonable sum of money. Not a bad thing, but just a great Art Deco design and a beautiful signature of the Duke. All right. Well, there he is, number 86, Duke Snider. Feel free to continue tuning in to these videos, and by all means, subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, keep collecting and stay iconic.